Larry, son, we got a lot to discuss this morning.
Yeah, sleeping, man.
Did you hear what I just said, son?
Mike Lowry.
Son, Kamala Harris. That's how you say her name?
Yeah, Kamala Harris.
I'm saying, what do you think, son? You voting for Kamala Harris, son?
Yes, all day, man.
You are?
Yeah. I'm choosing Kamala Harris over Donald Trump.
Why are you doing that?
I mean, it's like they said, two evils, you gotta choose the lesser evil.
So for you consider the lesser evil to be Kamala Harris?
I mean, I really don't know. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, you know, she's sitting there and she's a puppet being moved, you know, strings for, but you know, they got a way of putting people in places where they make you the public think that these people are all right because of where they've been. Now, Kamala Harris is a person who comes from a hip-hop background, and she done hung out, you know, she hung out with this.
What's the hip-hop background she comes from, homie?
Yeah, man,
what are you talking about? You know this lady? I mean, she come from a hip hop background, but she married a white man. Make sense of that.
So that's the lesser evil. There you go.
So
There's one evil.
that's equivalent. That's equivalent to the white people that come visit the hood but stay on the bus.
I'm gonna tell you the disrespect right now.
What's the disrespect, son?
Like, listen, man, you can vote for the black woman or you can vote for the white
This
man.
lady is not black, son.
I don't care what she is. I just don't like the wording.
So because of the way she looked, you much rather vote for her.
Yo, listen, man, if Michelle Obama runs for president, I'm
So if Michelle Obama runs for president, so if Michelle Obama runs for president, you gonna vote for her? That's what you're saying. I'm confused at your decision. You're not really giving me no reasons as to why you will vote for these people.
You know, I like the color.
So the color is the only thing that you voting for. None, regardless of the fact that you live in the state. You live in the state of California. This lady was responsible for locking more black people up in the state of California than any other person. And you okay with that?
She was responsible. How could one person be responsible for all this mayhem and chaos?
What you mean, how can one person be responsible? Not one person's responsibility, but one person adding on. No, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying one person.
Leave office and give a country $1 trillion. How could that one man do that? How could this one man get ready to leave office, step down for presidency, but go all the way across seas and give this country $1,000? I mean, $1 trillion. Don't you understand? There's more people than just the president. That's just one person on a platform.
So then why be? So then why be? So then why be distracted by this one person?
I'm not.
Why be distracted like this one person is the end all be all?
Right. You know the sad part of American people, or just people in general, they will vote for this one person. Like that one person makes up the whole presidency.
That's the way. That's the way that you're responding to me right now. I just called you. I just called you in the morning. You still probably in the bed right now. And the first question I asked you is how you feel about Kamala Harris, and you said she got your vote. And you can't tell me one reason why she got your vote other than the fact that she looks like the lesser evil.
I believe that the next president may very well be the last.
The next president may very well what?
The last president. That there'll be no more. Whoever take office this time is most likely gonna be there forever.
So you believe that the country is going to turn over into a dictatorship?
No, listen, I believe that yeah.
That's what you believed in.
I believe if Trump take office, there'll be no more presidents out there.
So we're moving towards. So the United States of America is moving towards. Hold on for a second. So the United States of America is moving towards a dictatorship, is what you believe?
I don't doubt that not one bit.
So if you don't doubt that, then
you know what's so funny? I almost thought Trump was in office. The way things was going towards the end was that he was going to be in office forever.
He was going to be in office forever.
And then Democratic Party won and they did what they did. So they pulled the Trump card over on Trump. That's something. But yeah, the way the world going right now.
So that leads me to another question. If you believe that America is going to be transferred over into a dictatorship, then what about your people in the Civil War?
Let's do this right. Let's say this right. Do you believe that America that there's an outer entity pulling the strings here in America, therefore saying that whoever is in the presidency still doesn't matter because there's an outer entity.
I didn't understand. I don't. You kind of you rambling right now, man. What are you saying?
America seems like it's just a place where it's invisible gates around the perimeter of America, leaving me to believe that America is nothing but one big prison. You understand? We can't grow our own food anymore. If a woman has an abortion, she can be arrested. If you say something about another two people same sex, be considered bashing. If you black walking around in America at a certain time, you could be harassed. No reason. All this stuff is the Constitution in place. Because how is it that you can say, well, there's some type of disrespect in what I hear from you, and I'm going to sue you for that, or I'm going to charge you. And it's just verbal. There's no more freedom. So there's no more freedom in the verbalness that we're speaking right now. That there is no more Constitution. amendments, all of that.
You're saying there's no more constitution if there's no more, if we can't freely speak to each other. Is that what you're saying? That there's no that we're living in one big prison. This is what you're saying.
You ask your people that.
So
you ask your people who watching and listening to you ask them that.
So,
but American Constitution is no longer.
But there has to be some resolve, sir. There has to be some type of solution, and that's and this is what these conversations need to be about.
You know how many that's sitting here on this turf right here, we call America, and their votes don't matter. How man went by electoral votes?
But this is not new information.
How Donald Trump and Bill Clinton wife go head to head, and she get all the numbers that Donald Trump won by.
Listen, the question remains the same though.
Do that not tell you that our votes don't matter?
Listen, our votes never mattered though. But our votes, our votes have never mattered. Our votes have never mattered. Why is it something of great importance now?
We already had a woman president in disguise. Because I say she basically, you know what I mean? You can't tell me that millions of people.
No, America had an opportunity.
It's a very touchy subject.
And okay, it's a very touchy subject, but America had an opportunity to have its first woman president, and they chose Donald Trump.
What's America?
What did I just say? America had the opportunity to have its first woman president, and it chose Donald Trump.
Listen, not the country.
I mean, that's what happened. It chose Donald Trump over the same It chose Donald Trump over repeating the same policies that we've been repeating for decades, homie.
New York, who you talking about, man? On the corporation.
You asking me who am I talking about, the people or the corporation?
In America.
I'm talking about both.
The country of America didn't vote for Donald Trump.
Okay, listen, the country of America voted for Donald Trump, and I believe that the corporation, listen to me, the country of America voted for Donald Trump, and I believe that the corporation of America just decided to go with it because the people wanted it so badly. My man.
We're not living in the caveman era where.
So do you believe? So you believe that? So you are the person who believe in the Democratic Party's policies, then?
Listen, man. Didn't I tell you lesser evil?
You keep saying this lesser evil thing.
You got one slave master that's gonna be. Well,
no, see, you keep taking me into these conversations. That example that you keep giving me about the slave masters, and I told you my response to the slave masters would have been to kill the slave masters. You keep telling me that there's some other way or some other type of response, and that keeps us in bondage. That keeps us in slavery.
As long as we keep us blind side.
No, you're saying to choose the slave master who is of the lesser evil in your mind.
Some hip hop stuff while you're trying to search and find something else in your mind starts wandering, and the next thing you know, you watch hip hop stuff, hoping and searching what you're supposed to be searching. You how that work? And that's what they're doing right now. They're doing this right now with everything. Walking down the
You got to speak more clearly, homie. I could barely hear you, son. I could barely hear what you're saying, son.
But this is the world we're living in, man. You know what I mean? What's right? What's wrong? No, listen, man, the rabbit hole, that's why I'm like, listen to something. You know, start talking about this stuff, man. This way one way, this way another way.
Yo, son, your phone is like the worst like device. I'm assuming that you're on the Android, right? Yo, listen, you sound like you're mumbling, son. Yeah, come to the phone, son. Like you sound like you mumbling, son. We got to get you a new device, man. We got to get you an Apple product, dog.
So I'm not a customer, so I really don't know what's going on over this girl. You know what I mean? The show get down for videos, somebody filming.
And you said what else? You said the Jews stole our birthright. That's what you said.
I said I think they have stolen birthright.
Oh, the Jews have stolen birthright. This is what you believe.
You know, the continent of Africa, you know what they say it is.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying right now.
Where they say it is, the whole that system is all off. The way they make things look and appear to us, because we're not getting out there and seeing for ourselves. We don't know where the fuck everything is really at. So you can put this stuff out there and have leaders because they're not getting up off their lazy ass and go find it. Do you understand that? God who is fruitful and then took
You said God. You said God. You said God. Hold on. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You said God.
Yeah, man.
I don't know that's a different conversation, sir. I don't know that I necessarily believe in God. I don't know that I necessarily believe in God.
So let's go like this. The fruits and the vegetables that grow, right? It's supposed to eat it just like that as it grows. Don't just pick the apple. Now, when you start changing the form of the fire, you know, change the molecular structure of the food. Now it's not even food anymore. It's like putting your plate of food inside the microwave. This is what processed food is. It's not processed.
So okay, but how does that relate to what you just said about the Jews and what they just did as it relates to
It's not real food. Not real food.
so you're saying that's not real Jews then? Is that what I'm taking from
This
what you
subject is not real food.
Oh, you said this subject is not real food. Well, it that might be contradictory, homie. I mean, you see what's going on in the world today. You saying it's not a so what's the real food, so to say? So what's the real food, so to say, as the subject to talk about? What's directly um of the greatest importance as it relates to us as a people to talk about? The story of who? You said Yaku? You're talking about in the 5% nation? Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about the scientist, the big head scientist who supposedly grafted the white man. Is that who you're talking about? No, I'm asking you, is that who you're speaking of? You said what?
Yeah.
What you say, sir? I didn't hear the last thing the last part of what you said. Are you still there? You said who?
water it down doing nothing.
So what you believe is that the Donald Trump shooting was fake? I believe you said that when it happened.
Man, yo, listen, stop.
My nigga, you started sending me all types of photos with all type of blood packets and all types of stuff.
I'm not trying to get myself together.
You said you're trying to get yourself together. You just dropped the call, son. I asked you a question and you hung up, son.
My G, if you don't get the fuck off this phone with that bullshit.
Listen, I asked you a question and you hung up the phone, dog. Like I asked you a question about Donald Trump, son.
You just told your wife the call drop, right?
No. I told her I was going to tell the people that the call dropped, but nah, you actually hung up the phone. Listen, I asked you one question about the shit that you were sending me about Donald Trump, son. That's all. You believe it's fake. My nigga, you sent me blood packs. You were sending me blood packs. You were sending me. You said what?
The picture they had on the internet with the ketchup pack on the scene.
Right. You was the first person to send me all this content about it being fake. You understand what I'm saying?
NBA Youngboy. What do you got to do with this?
Listen, homie, stick to the subject, dog.
I don't know where we at. Who is this?
Yeah, okay, sir. Now, yo, your son. Listen, the people are not going to accept you backtracking like this, homie.
Yo, somebody on my line. Yo, what is this? Drake, bling bling.
My nigga, if you can't stand on your words, my nigga, then you know, if you can't stand on your words, then what good is your word, homie? So let me get this straight. On the day that Donald Trump assassination attempt happened, you was just joking.
Just stop, man. I'm not.
Was you making a joke?
I will sue you for everything you have if you publish any of this phone call right here.
I'm gonna edit you even saying that out.
Go on, get nigga.
I'm gonna edit you even saying that out. You saying nah, man? What, son?
This is not that conversation, man.
So then you scared, son. Like if you scared, just say you scared, dog. You understand? You scared of these people. You can't give your opinions. You don't want to talk about these people.
Yo, like I said, man, if you went on my page, you see the direction I'm going in. And the direction you're going in is two different directions.
So what direction are you going in, son?
I'm walking with God, man. I choose not to play with politics or any of this.
Oh, so you walking with God in the country of a.
I don't voice my opinion on any of this because to me, it's ignorance, man. You play around in the ring of politics, man, you lose your life, you lose your family, you know what I mean? Go watch the movie, shoot the messenger, and then come back and talk to me after that.
So you just want to live your life. You don't want to comment on nothing. Nothing bothers you.
I got kids, I got a wife.
And you more concerned about keeping them safe.
Brothers and sisters,
right. So you don't want to give.
Everybody is dysfunctional on this plantation.
Right.
You understand? So yeah, I choose not to.
All right, man. Well, there you have it. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
man, check this out. Woe to those who play around, man. That's just the bottom line. I don't fuck around. Just what I keep telling you this shit, man. And you know, all this internet is crazy, man. You gotta fucking somebody's tapping keys and talking shit. And the next thing you know, you're behind bars because somebody was tapping keys, talking shit. You just have to go see that. You know, I don't fuck around, man. That's what I'm telling you. That's how really you're playing it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Is that?
You know, I heard somebody say that. I just heard this like recently. Somebody say that fear is a place where you take your wife and your kids, homie. You understand? They got all types of cotton candy, all types of rides, and all types of things there. But fear doesn't reside here, homie. You understand? So I don't know the other terminology of fear. I only know a fear to be a place, you know, I might go be able to go get a no, I might be able to go get a turkey drumstick over there. You know what I'm saying? I might get the turkey leg from over there. That's what a fear is. You understand?
Nah, listen, man. My God said politics and scripture should never mix. Two should never mix.
But there's some people that say politics came from your God.
I'm over here in the scriptures, so I choose not to
But okay, so then there's some people that say politics came from your God. What about the people who say politics came from your God?
Nah, I don't care what they say. I know that's what it says, and that's what it matters. That's what it says, and that's separate the two.
Yeah, you know it's I feel like it's a very bland way of existence. You understand?
I wouldn't care, man.
No, I get it.
You know, all I know is we living in a world in a society that's nothing but one big prison. People think they're free. You can yell out freedom all you want, man, but you ain't free. You got a visible fucking chains around your neck, on wrists and legs. You know? This shit is real.
It sounds like you're scared, homie.
I don't give a fuck what you call it, man. You know what I mean? It's for me to protect me and my family.
But can't you see this is the reason why we can't come together as a people? This is the reason why there's no unification.
Because they still doing the Willie Lynch syndrome to us. They put poison in the milk.
Yeah, but the Willie Lynch syndrome is what you're describing to me right now. When you can't give your opinion about just certain topics, you can't even talk.
Just happened to black Wall Street, and that's just one of them.
I'm asking you questions, certain questions.
Let me tell you how diabolical, disrespectful, rude, and all the above. Do you know Tasmanian Devil, the cartoon character? They made him, I don't know what that thing is, but it's brown. Do you know that's a real race of people that they have went and tried to take over their land? And then these people chose not to let them take over the land, not to become slaves. They fought tooth and nail to the last one, man, woman, and child, even women that was pregnant. These people went and they killed each and every one of them, but they fought to their last dying breath.
Does that not inspire you? Does that not? Does that not inspire you?
I would like to be with my family a little more. What do you think about sending kids to war?
All right, so I got another question for you.
No, I got a question for you. They're talking about putting our children in war right now. They're saying that you gotta go down and you gotta sign up so you turn 16. You got from 16 to the age of basically 24.
I'm a street icon, so these things don't concern me.
I didn't finish my conversation.
No, I'm letting you know that I'm a street icon and these things don't concern me. I know exactly what I'm gonna do when they come. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I know exactly what I'm gonna do when they come. And for those that are considering anything else, we are not the same. We don't see life through the same lenses.
No, that's why I say you know too much. You just know too much. It's not for me to play that. When I talk with Missy at times and explain different avenues and stuff like that, she's trying to figure out why, and then, you know, she's where I was raised. This cannot be my subject of that. This can't be for me. I was raised in Islam. You understand? So people will look at me and say, well, you can't hold a conversation with this dude about the subject of that topic. And then people will look at me and say, well, you know what, this nigga's a Muslim. You know, you asked me if I'm scared. It's not about if I'm scared, it's about when the time comes that, you know, are we going to have to fight for our families? And who the hell are we fighting?
The problem is that if we never have these conversations, how can we strategize, plot, plan, or mobilize anything if we don't have the conversations? Whenever happens, we'll all be in a state of confusion. No, I'm saying whatever conversation, my man, it doesn't, yo, none of that matters, man. The only thing that really matters is what you and your people are prepared to do.
That tells you how you feel and what is that the third. Apple or Android, I don't know who it is. So I'm not trying to mess with no business or whatever. But they got to watch on the phone now to tell you if you got COVID or not. What type of bullshit is this? No, this is the world we living in right now. But there's no freedom of speech, there's no freedom of nothing. There's no real food being eaten, no everything that we got. Now you see more people trying to be healthy, so what they do? Bill Gates wanted to he go buy up all the farmers. So now they control the farm food. You know, from farm to table is not the thing for most. From the farm to the lab to the well, if it's even on a farm that they're doing this, from the lab to the store to your table. You know, it's nothing but processed food. The fruits is processed. Now look at the fucking watermelons they say that's exploding coming from Walmart. It can sit long enough in the heat and start to split down, crack, and explode.
You know, I heard you mention processed foods a couple of times, so that must be something that's really plaguing your soul.
They do not eat processed food. They don't even know what that is. We can just say that this is one hand. Now, you can go there and you can get there when you be accepted. You can get there. Because they'll look at your DNA, they'll look at you and automatically say, you've been eating poison too long, so if you come and you sit among us, you gotta stop eating poison. We gotta clean you out. You gotta put your DNA back in order because they've been messing with your DNA. What you think of Japan? Japan is actually getting $90,000 for your DNA. What they doing with that?
I have no idea what they're doing with your DNA, sir.
You know? So yeah, I say y'all play with yourselves.
these subjects just happen to be the subjects that are of the greatest importance, and because of because of because you're so scared.
You say, yo, how you get used to the word scared, and how you get used to the word family.
Right, but you're scared for your family is what I'm trying to say. You're scared for
Now, I'm not
yourself and your
scared for my
family.
family. I just say, how long will I have for my family?
If you start talking and engaging with these topics, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So you
That's
don't
what
believe, so you must be under the impression that I don't have very long with my family because I am engaging in these topics.
yo, listen, if that's what it is, young man, if you're not thinking about that, then believe me, check this out. You got two people walking down the street. One person smoking a blunt. The other person doesn't. This person is drinking a beer also. The other person doesn't. But these two are walking down the street together. Are they talking to each other? No. They're just walking down the street alongside each other. Do they know each other? Nobody knows. Somebody knows one of them. If somebody wants to do bodily harm to that one person, do they just attack that one person or do they attack both of them? Because they assume both of them are walking together. That's your assumption. You see that? So while you editing and doing all of this, whatever you're doing, and you saying, "Oh, you scared?" No, I'm saying that your problems with this political realm, because that's what you're playing in, right? And it's not just a political realm; it's a realm where it's just nothing but satanic, shaitan, whatever you want to call it. All of that stuff mixed in one, man. I don't play with that. I don't even do music anymore like that because of what's going on in that arena. You know? So yeah, if I can spend a little more time with my family and chill and have fun and laugh and joke before the Terminator pushes the button or this, that, and the third.
Oh, you good with that then?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And you just gonna sit in your house and hold them tight.
You bring back Malcolm X. You know, these people said, what's one of you?
I'm sorry, man. I gotta be Sean Connor. I told you, what's his name? Sean Connor. That's his name, Sean Connor. Yeah, I think his name is Sean Connor. I know the people gonna correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his name is no John Connor. I'm wrong. It wasn't Sean Connor. It's John Connor. John Connor. Yeah, I gotta lead the resistance, homie. I'm sorry. No. Yeah, Sean Carter. Not Sean Carter, but John Connor. I gotta lead the resistance, homie. You understand? Yeah, son. I feel I like that. I like being the leader of the resistance, my nigga. No, just the resistance, just the resistance of. No, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying the resistance of.
That is so dangerous.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, man. And listen, I see what they did to Dr. Sebi.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm getting this content because this will prove to the people how scared a person is to talk their truth, to speak their mind. This is what we've come to in American society and in the world society that we live in today, where people are so scared, so fearful that they will not speak their minds. They're thinking about their families, they're thinking about their employment, they're thinking about what's life going to be like if they just open up their fucking mouths and say what's on their minds. This is what we've come to.
You do? Go find the American people that choose one to open their mouth.
No, I'm just saying. This is a.
Somebody who done told you 1,000 times I ain't fucking with this shit.
No, this is an example. This is a prime example, though. This is a prime example. Yeah. You walking with God. You walking with God. You walking with God. Israel and doing what they doing in Palestine, Russia doing what it's doing in Ukraine, China about to invade Taiwan, United States of America is probably on the brink of civil war, and you're walking with God. It's just great. I don't. We one will never know, son. But if we do, if we go with your, no, I'm saying if we follow your direction, we'll just sit in the house and wait for it to happen. You know what I mean? Just enjoy yourself, live your life with your family, and sit back and enjoy the ride.
I don't sit in the house. I get out and I'll do my work.
No, not you. What are you talking about? We're not talking about having employment, Pray. I'm talking about the work of informing people of what's really going on in the world.
Listen, I do my godly work, and that's that.
I'm confused about this godly work.
Don't be confused with me. Let me explain this to you. God said when I return,
You taking me off into a different realm, Pray. You know this going to take us down the rabbit hole, homie. You know where this is going to take us. Don't start quoting these fucking scriptures to me, my nigga. Nah, don't do that, son, because I don't appreciate that shit, son. You're quoting some bullshit to me right now, though. I don't appreciate it, son. You consider it to be the truth. I consider it to be a fucking fable, my nigga.
okay, so then we have it. We have two people for two opinions. You know what I mean? So live your truth and I live mine. You know what I mean? It's nothing that anyone is going to tell me is going to sway me in my belief.
What you have is called blind faith, son.
If that's what you want to call it, that's what you want to call it.
Like what you have is called blind faith, sir. You understand? There's nothing that could come to you that make you change your mind, and I get that. I understand that. But I am a receiver of information. So when I was once an individual like you, who couldn't be deterred from Islam. But then because I'm a receiver of information, I can't ignore the astounding information that, points in different directions, like science. I can't ignore these things because I am a receiver of information. So I'm just using this as an example for the people to understand that everybody in America, not just black people, but everybody is not prepared to talk about these topics. Some people are very much considering their employment, their families. They're considering everything outside of just speaking their mind. And the reason is because they've been witnesses. They've seen examples of what happens to people when they just open their mouth and speak their minds. So this is just an example, my nigga. So the way you conducted yourself, the way you responded, my nigga.
I come from a day and time where it was feed kids before they go to class because people understood that kids needed to eat so that they could function better. So then that was stripped away from them and they called that weight down. You understand? I come from a time where because you're doing something right and you now form a community of people that are doing something right, the community destroyed from the inside out. They place people in places that made these people look like they were part of us, and these people were not. They were reporting back. They were saying, okay, this is how we can break this down, we can destroy this community. Yeah, man, it's like when it comes to us darker skinned people, and we know we the children of God. You know what I mean? Those who don't know need to wake up.
So you saying I need to wake up?
But God is saying that this is not my domain here. This right here.
Why is it not his domain?
This
like, make it make sense, homie. How it's not God's domain, son?
My domain is over here. Do what you need to do down there. And when it's time, you'll be turning back here.
Yo.
No
It sound like some sucker shit, my nigga. It really sound like some sucker shit, dog.
Don't put your all you on the places it needs to be. You ain't drive that thing in a minute, man. Take that outside and go for a spin, man.
So you telling me to go ride my motorcycle instead of talking about?
No. Go ride your motorcycle, clear your head, man, before you come fucking with me.
So don't talk about these geopolitical events and topics and things.
Yeah, that's see. Now listen, that's for you. That's from subject. That's from topics. This is where you at. You know,
but this is an example of why we don't pray.
You want to be the messenger, my G.
No, but what you're proving, is the reason.
I'm not proving nothing.
Yes, you are. You're proving why we don't connect, why we don't unify as a people. You're proving it. Because if I'm on the course of trying to connect with my people, trying to inform my people, trying to help my people get out the circumstances we in, and you saying, yo, I'm not with none of that. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm not politicking about none of that. I don't want to give my thoughts and my views about none of that. I just want to be with my family and live my life, homie. That's all I want. That's all I want, my nigga. That's what you saying to me.
Yo, listen.
And this is the reason why our community, is the way that it is, dog. Everybody only cares about themselves, homie.
It's not that people only care about themselves. It's that some people seen so much shit in their lifetime. You understand?
How much of it are you tired of seeing, though?
Yo, listen.
It ain't changing anything just because you sit back and stay home and don't do nothing about what's going on.
If I can fight for my kids as long as I possibly can and still be with my kids as long as I possibly can.
So you're scared of something happening to you.
You know what? I'm scared of nothing. How about that?
No,
you just using that word.
But you did say that you were scared of leaving your family alone, son.
Yo, listen, man. No, I'm not scared of nothing. All right? So let's end that word right then and there. Let's put the period at the end of that sentence. And let's now jump on this hit. They just allow Charleston, South Carolina, or let's just say the South. They just allow all of them young kids now to walk around with guns. These are kids who come from homes where there's no food. These are kids who come from homes where there's so much confusion. These are kids who don't understand life yet. These are kids being bullied. These are kids who don't know wrong from right. These are some kids who just get something in their hand and think that they're gods. And now you have all of these type of people running around with weapons. Is that not to destroy the place? Come on, man.
I believe that it's a tactic. I believe that that's one of the tactics that's being used.
And man, you know, you got Bill Gates talking about downsizing the population. There's too many people on the planet. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. You're not talking about building spaceships so people could make it to Mars or whatever. You're talking about killing people, downsizing, killing. But this is a guy who his family, I believe, has what? The gasoline, the oil, the petroleum jelly, the stuff that the residue they putting in the pills. No, just look it up. So you ask me about how I feel and what I feel about it. I say I come from a time where people did research in books, man. Not turn on a computer and say, hey, AI, tell me about this and tell me about that, and then it tells you. No, I come from the era where people was reading these books.
That's a different conversation, though, Pray. I don't believe there's anything wrong with technology, homie. I told you, I believe that.
Listen, man,
This is another point where we got an issue at, homie, because I don't believe that there's anything wrong with technology, dog. I believe that we are actually moving too slow, and I told you that before.
And I don't care if we move slow or we move fast. I care what they doing with the technology.
Okay, that's one thing. That's a different conversation. What you're doing with the technology, but the technology itself is two different things, homie.
This is a subject you should talk to your people about. And on some serious shit, my nigga, serious. How many people got a dinner table in their house? Huh? How many people still got the chairs to their dinner table around it in their house? How many families sit down with their children and their husbands and wives and eat together without the computers, without the phones and all that? I don't mean somebody went to the store and got food. There's 6 children in the house. The husband and wife is in there. The husband's in the room watching TV. The wife's in the kitchen making the food. All 6 kids is on the cell phone. You understand? They all scattered. They don't even talk to each other. When the cell phones go down, the kids is in a rage. Do they sit at a dinner table and all eat together? Or do they get their place and go to back to the spots they were sitting in and they eat their food and stay on the phone?
You're just talking about the fact that times have changed, homie. You understand what I'm saying? And
it's bigger than the times changing, man. It's something in it that I believe they're working towards, and it's destroying the family.
you believe that these things are being engineered. You believe that this is engineering, right? You believe that these things are being done to break up our families, right?
Yo, no country survives without a scientist. You understand? When everybody sits down at the table and they start talking about what we need to do for the people, there's a scientist in the midst.
So you believe that we are being engineered these ways?
Of course, man. Fuck. Yo, listen, man. I believe that we're way behind the signs of time when it comes to China.
But that's why I always ask. This is the reason why I always ask you, what are you prepared to do, homie? And it seems like you're telling me you're not prepared to do anything. You're prepared to just chill.
I'm prepared to learn, man. I'm prepared to learn. You understand? Because knowledge is power. So I'm prepared to learn. I'm prepared to teach my family. I'm prepared to get out there and do the work, footwork, not be in the house, on the phone, or whatever.
It's the same thing. What's the difference? If you can reach more people on a computer than you can reach in the streets, then how could you be doing something wrong?
Now listen, man. I'm talking about getting out the home.
No, you're talking about actually doing physical work, and that's understandable.
Don't tell me what I'm talking about.
That's what it sounds like you're talking about. It sounds like you're talking about doing actual physical work.
I mean, that's what it is, man. Y'all get money in computers and play around at the phone.
No, it's not playing around, son. I told you before. If you're giving people pieces of information or in giving them insight to something that they didn't have insight to before, then how could you not be helping, dog? How could you not be helping people? If a person could click onto a video and hear you talk and hear your voice and hear you speak and hear you give them a piece of information that they didn't have, then they just learned something. And you are their teacher, homie. How do you not see it that way?
must listen to my music back in the day. You must really listen.
It's the same thing with the music that you was doing. It's another form of teaching, homie. You was spreading messages in your music. You was writing messages in your music. It's the same thing you was trying to do, dog. It ain't no different, homie. You would have been the same person. You would have been the same person I am in the rap form. Yeah, let's get to that part. You would have been the same person I am in the rap form.
Take your cameras, go out there with a big owl, is that? Go film that.
You said go film what?
Going over there to the Grove and film that.
You talking about what's that? The Bohemian Grove? I think that's what I think it's called, the Bohemian. You talking about in California and somewhere in the Hollywood Hills or some shit like that? You talking about the secret society? Yeah, we already know the secret society exists. We already know they exist, homie. We already know they exist.
Take your microphone, your camera crew. You go on over there and see what you do.
Well, my question is why is people so scared? I sit on the side of society who doesn't understand. Yo, son, I stand on the side of society that doesn't understand.
Okay, let's do it like this. Why is Governor Cuomo out of office?
I don't even really
What happened to Cuomo?
I don't really I'm being honest with you. He's somebody that I really don't know too much about, so I really can't give you.
I don't know too much about. I don't know nothing about that.
Sad, but see, this is the thing. Sadly, we don't know about any of these people. We don't know about none of them. That's the thing. When somebody asks one of us what have they done or what do you know about this, that, and the third, we don't have no answers because we don't know these people, and that's the whole problem, homie. It's always been the problem.
This is why I say it's a touchy subject.
No, the touchy subject and the problem is that
I gotta break it down to people like this. I sent you a video. I don't even know if you open it up. What's her name? Something Lee. I just sent it to you last night. If you opened it up, you'll understand where I'm coming from. If you go on your text messages, look at that. I said that the guy is doing like one of them square boxes where he's sitting in his house in one box, and he took somebody's video, and then he's playing that video, and he's pointing at her as she's talking, and she's saying, "What? Going outside and raising the what? Listen, I'm buying with that. Call me when y'all ready to go out there and start shooting some boop, 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 boop." And I'm like, oh wow. You know what I mean? Now, we have that. And I'm praying for the system. You know what I mean? But then again, we don't know if that was something that was set up. Because how was that put on TikTok?
Son, but
how is that allowed to get on? I can't even get a video on TikTok that might have some music playing behind it while I'm talking.
I mean, well, a person put up a post of the 10 richest people in the world, and I said we should purge them all. You understand? And hit the reset button. You understand? That was my response to the person putting up.
These are not the 10 richest people in the world.
Well, we don't know. You understand? But what I'm trying to say is, this is what the person put up. This is the picture that we think we know. But this is what.
You have 5%, you have 10%, you have 85%.
Okay, that's cool. But what I'm saying
so
is
we don't know that you will never know the true richest people.
Right. So that's kind of what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is,
in this day and time, and you would not even know that this person is the one.
That's very
That's
much
so.
possible. That's very much possible. That's very much possible. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is my comment, my response. My response was we should purge them all and hit the reset button. Now, what do you think about that
Why
response?
is that? Why is that?
Why not?
I don't even understand the question, my G. Like, why
This,
the
these
fuck
are
would
the
you
these are
purge
the
somebody because, I mean, what do you mean by purge? Because the only purge I know is either you erasing them or you stripping them of their wealth or
I
you
mean,
telling them,
whatever
okay,
you
where you
you
from?
seen the movie? You seen the movie The Purge?
Yeah, I seen purge,
So
man.
then, what do you
Now,
mean you
listen,
don't understand what
I
purge?
don't understand your view of purge.
What you mean you don't understand?
I'm saying, why would you purge these 10 people? I mean, why can't you?
Because in my mind, they're the ones that are hoarding all of the riches and all of the wealth of the world.
That's not true.
Why is it not true?
What do you mean?
If these individuals have
So
the
listen,
most in the world, then they have the most to give.
you think that they would tell you
No, that's not you. I know
I'm
you
not
getting
running
outside of the
around
question, homie.
I'm not running around the waterfall,
Nah,
homie.
you
I'm
getting
getting that.
outside of the question. Outside of the question. You asking me two questions in one. You asking
You
me
know
first
why?
if I think
Because
that those are the real people who are the richest people in the world, and then you ask me why would I purge these
my
people?
brother told me one day you gotta know where I'm coming from to know where I've been.
Oh man, son.
You know what I mean? And we laughed so hard at that while we was driving to go get some recording equipment from Sam Ash. So I just take what he said to me because when I understood what he said and we both was laughing, God bless him, man.
Yeah, man. God
God
bless us
bless
all,
him.
man. God bless us all. If there is a God,
That was funny.
you know what I mean? If there is a God, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, see, listen,
God bless
I
us
don't
all. If
think,
there is one, homie, I gotta say if, dog. You know I gotta say the if, homie.
that's easy, so,
Nah,
man.
I
That's
know,
easy.
son. I know, but you know I gotta throw the if in there, dog. You know I gotta throw the if in there, son. You know what I'm saying? It's a slight chance that this shit is all computerized, dog.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, man.
I mean, it's a
And
slight chance we in the matrix, homie. You know what I'm saying?
man, like I told you yesterday, man, you got the dude sitting there talking about in the future. And this is from the 60s, man. You breaking down how evil will be gonna be evil. Man to be sleeping with man, woman to be sleeping with woman. Nobody will be thinking otherwise.
I
This
mean,
is
son,
right
they've
or
been doing
wrong.
this since beginning of time, though. Pray, stop acting
Yeah,
like
I
it's
know
something
that.
new under the sun, homie. Ain't nothing new under the sun, dog. They were sleeping with men. Men were sleeping with men thousands of years ago, my nigga. You understand what I'm
Does
saying?
it make it right though?
No, it's never been right, homie. But
Does
that's
it
what was
make it
going
right?
on. No, don't act like it's a
Exactly,
new
yo.
thing. No, it's not a
No,
new
no, no,
thing.
no, no.
There's
No, no,
always
no.
been a confused
I'm
people
just
on
telling you.
planet Earth,
I'm
dog.
just telling you the future. It was. It's not a new thing, but it wasn't out in the open the way
No, it's
it
I'm not
was.
saying that. I'm
It
saying
wasn't
there's
before.
always been a group of people who are confused on planet Earth, homie. It's always been that.
I mean, if that's what you want to call it, I don't think these people were confused.
Nah, I think it's utter confusion, son.
I
Utter
don't think these
confusion
people
and
were one
delusion,
bit
son.
confused. I don't think they're one bit
Listen, man,
confused, man.
my opinion as it relates to that is my opinion. You understand? I believe it's utter confusion and delusion, homie.
Hey, to each his own.
Yeah, son, I believe
Yeah,
that, homie.
yeah, man. Woo. Anyhow, homie said in the near future, all of this is supposed to be taking place. He did not miss the nail, man.
A
He
lot of
ain't
people
missed
got
the nail on not
misconceptions,
one
homie.
hit.
I just spoke to a Muslim brother who said that he didn't know that Barack Obama was the president who basically signed into law the gays
Yeah,
men
same
marrying
sex
men, yeah,
marriage.
same sex marriages and all that stuff. because he was under the impression that Barack Obama was this no, what I'm saying is he was under the impression that Barack Obama was this good person until I informed him that this is the same individual who authorized same-sex marriages. And when he heard that, he was appalled, homie. No, I'm saying when he heard it, he was appalled, my nigga. He couldn't believe that he didn't believe it. And I said, nah, it's Barack Obama, the person that you saying is a good person. This person is the one who authorized same-sex marriages in this country, dog.
Is the Constitution in place, man? Is the Constitution in place? Are we still, less than animals? As black people, not black people, but darker skinned people. Are we?
What are you asking me? The Constitution doesn't say that animals are black people. The Constitution say that we are less than animals.
I said Constitution.
No, the Constitution gives. I believe it states that we are 3/4 of a human being.
I said Constitution. I didn't say Constitution.
So you're saying Constitution plural with an S?
Right. Later more than one. The two Constitutions that was written. Are they still in place?
I don't.
Which one of those constitutions is in place right now?
But you see how the answers that we have to give each other can't be definitive or direct. Now, if you were speaking to if you were speaking to a news reporter, or if you were speaking, no, I'm saying if you were speaking to a news reporter, or you were speaking to some scholar or something like that, you might get a more definitive answer. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's even true in itself. You see, a person can give you a surface answer of something that's on the surface or something that is written down that says that this is the way it is, but that doesn't necessarily make it so. Especially if the government and their policies are practicing something different. So regardless of what's written down and what's actually law, if you're practicing something different, then what does that actually mean? It's almost a conversation that me and my wife having where we are walking down the street. No, listen.
What is the Corporation of America from? Where is they from? Because they're not from here.
The corporation, from my last recollection, the Corporation of America consists of 3 states. And, I believe that Virginia and Washington, D.C. are 2 of those states. And I don't know if Michigan or something else. It's another state, but I believe
the Corporation of America started off as 10 acres of land in Virginia. This is the beginning of the United States Corporation. It started off as 10 acres of land in Virginia. They needed funding. They needed money. This is how you got the federal government connected with them, because the international banker, the one who funded and gave America their push. In return, this is how we got the birth certificates, because there was no birth certificates at that time. So what they did was they turned people into money, and they created the birth certificate. The birth certificate was then sent to England, who loaned America Corporation the money.
So after
from that time all the way up to now, just think about how much debt the American corporation accumulated.
After
for them to survive and stay alive, what they had to do was continuously get people to sign birth certificates. Now, without us knowing the wisest of what's really going on, we have signed our kids over to the state, to the government. So when they say you can't beat your kid or this, that, and the third, they're not saying that because they saying we're watching over your kids. No, they're saying that because your kids now belong to the American corporation. They tricked everybody. Now, see, this is the subject that I'm talking about that is so dangerous.
So do you believe that we should be killing cops?
That bill, man on the land.
So do you believe that we should be killing cops?
Why should you kill anybody?
No, I'm asking you
How about that?
because these are the people that enforce these policies and these laws.
What the overseer got to do with the nigga that sits on the throne?
I mean, this is just a hypothetical.
No,
This is
I'm
just a,
asking you, what do the overseer got to do with the nigga that sits on the throne that gives?
they both together.
But you'll never see the person. Hey, let's do this right here.
They
Now, this is
operating in
some funny.
tandem.
Hold on, pause. Listen, this is some funny shit here. But this pertains to what we're talking about right now. You ever watch Inspector Gadget back in the days?
Yes, son.
Okay.
Not to remember it though.
Listen, check this out. Have you ever seen the guy who had the fucking?
I just told this
hand?
nigga. Now, see, I just said I watched Inspector Gadget, but not to remember it, my nigga.
Yo, listen.
I don't remember that shit.
Yo, listen. There was Inspector Gadget and his daughter, the dog. It was the bad guy that it was always chasing after. This bad guy had a fucking hand with a spike collar piece on the hand or whatever. The one around the wrist. But you never seen the rest of the guy's body.
Oh, you talking about the nigga who sat in the chair? He was like a mob boss or some shit like that.
Have they ever showed this guy's body on there?
I don't remember seeing his body, but I don't know. I don't remember that.
Seeing this guy's body. Okay, so now let's fast forward to what we just was talking about.
Yeah.
The overseer. Should we kill cops? Why should we kill cops? What the fuck they got to do with that man who just had the hand, but you never see his body?
I mean, the cops is the ones chasing you down and killing you, homie. I mean, the police is the one chasing you down and killing you. So,
you know what's funny about this right here, though? They say taxpayers put the cops in the position where they at. I watched, what is it, Gangs in New York? Was that the name of it? Or Once Upon a Time in New York? I don't know what the fuck.
I don't like that movie, son. You probably talking about Gangs in New York, not Once Upon a Time in New York. Once Upon a Time in New York has a rape scene, and that's disgusting. You understand?
What is it? Well, listen.
You talking about Gangs in New York?
Gangs in New York?
Yeah, that's probably what you're talking about.
Is that the one where they show how the country was formed or whatever, and how what is it? One type of people became police.
That's why I said I believe that's Gangs in New York. I believe that's Gangs in New York, but I never seen that movie.
Yeah. Do they got a movie called Once Upon a Time in New York?
Yes, and I'm telling you, that movie right there, I don't like because that has a sexual assault scene in it. That Once Upon a Time in New York is well, not Once Upon a Time in New York. Once Upon a Time in America. That's with Robert De Niro.
Well, don't know nothing about that.
It's either Once Upon a Time in New York or Once Upon a Time in America. But I don't like that movie because, like I said, it has a sexual assault scene in it that I took. You know what I mean? It's disturbing, my nigga. Like I don't appreciate that. But anyway, you talking about probably Gangs in New York.
Okay. Well, checked in and wrote down, and then one race became the fire department, the other race became the police. You understand?
Yeah.
Going on right now, and they don't give two fucks about how you feel and what you think. There's no let's sit down, let's try and strategize this, let's unify over no phone and internet. No. I can take it to Malcolm X and show you how they tried to assassinate this man for his speaking, his preaching, his teaching.
All you doing is pointing out. All you doing to me is pointing out examples that make this an absolute mandatory for me, homie.
All I'm saying is, if you want to be something at it, they said it's not to be televised. That means that niggas don't talk about shit, man. That's the problem, homie.
How you going to know how to move with your people if y'all not communicating, dog? How you going to move with your people, homie?
How do you sit around, yo? Listen, man.
If you and your people don't know where to meet at, y'all don't know where to click up at, y'all don't know when to go when this happens, y'all don't know where to stash this at, y'all don't know where to put this at, y'all don't know where to meet up for this, y'all don't know when to go when this happens. What the fuck y'all doing then, son?
Let me say this. That's why I said I don't want to.
Yo, my nigga, don't you know they found tunnels in the motherfucker underneath the synagogue in Brooklyn, son? They found tunnels under there, son. These people got plans. These people got plans, dog. No, I'm telling you, these people got plans, homie. They playing with each other, dog. I'm just letting you know, homie. These people are planning, they plotting, and they strategizing with each other. Meanwhile, we not doing the motherfucker. All right, people, and there you have it. It's a phone conversation between the street icon himself and the prey dog. You know what I'm saying? Now, what y'all need to do is go on over to my homie site, PPH Customs. You know what I'm saying? On all social media platforms, PPH Customs. On all social media platforms. You know what I'm saying? Go follow the homie.
How the fuck do you talk about that type of shit and then tell a nigga go on over the PPH Customs?
Hey, I'm just saying, son. I'm trying to give you a shout out right now. I'm trying to give your page a shout out, son. Oh, so you don't want the you don't want the endorsement.
Yo, listen, man. Fuck that. Fuck that.
All right. Listen, man. My homie don't want his. All right, man. So, like I said, people, there you have it, man. Phone conversation between me and my homie, man. East Coast to the West Coast, street icon to PPH Customs. You understand what I'm saying? And you already know. Follow all yeah, homie. I know that. I'm just trying to tell the people all of the plugs. You know what I'm saying? Follow Street Icon on all social media platforms. Yeah, that's STREETICON1. That's Street Icon 8080 on the YouTube platform. Street Icon 8080 on the YouTube platform. Street Icon 1 on all other social media platforms. Drop a comment in the comment section and let me know how you feel about the topics that me and my homie discussed today. Drop a comment in the comment section and always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe, peace. Peoples. It is July 12th, 2024, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Al Jazeera reports U.S. announces sanctions on Israeli settlers over West Bank violence. U.S. measures target 3 Israeli individuals and 5 entities over violence in the occupied West Bank. The United States has announced new sanctions on several Israeli settlers and affiliated groups, accusing them of involvement in violence or threats of violence targeting civilians, seizure of property, or other actions that threaten security in the occupied West Bank. The sanctions announced by the U.S. Department of State and the Department of Treasury on Thursday target Israeli individuals. I'm not going to say their names. You can obviously see their names. And 4 illegal Israeli settlement outposts. Now, these appear to be farmlands that have been seized by these entities or individuals. You know, as I've told you guys before, this seems to be a reoccurring theme. It seems like this was all a plot, a plan, a scheme to take Palestinian land, because it seems like I keep hearing the same thing as it relates to the seizure of Palestinian land and Israelis occupying said land, Israelis being the first to be able to purchase said land. So there's something very tactical going on as it relates to not just the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians, but also the the seizure of their property, their land, and it almost feels like this is what it was all about to begin with. You see, there are things that are being said about Benjamin Netanyahu as it relates to him supporting Hamas, him giving Hamas military aid and various different things at different points, only for Hamas to turn around and do what it's done. But you see, that would be a surface. That would be the surface of this situation, which is not actually true. You see, what's actually true is that the Israeli government and the Israeli military have been kidnapping, because it is nothing short of kidnapping when you detain innocent civilians, men, women, and children. You are actually kidnapping these people, and you have no charges that are being brought against these people. So they're being detained and they're being held for enormous amounts of time. You know, an hour, a day, a week, a month, any time spent away from your loved ones and you've done absolutely nothing wrong is too much time. It's too much time. And so you have men, women, and children that are sitting in Israeli detainment centers, prisons, that have been there for weeks, months, some even years. And so this is what the Palestinians were fighting for. You know, it's not um it's not unusual for Hamas to have done such a thing, because they have done such a thing in the past where they have captured Israeli military personnel and have used that Israeli military personnel to very well have prisoners who were detained unjustly released. And so, like I said, this is all tactical. It's not just about killing Hamas, as the Israelis will have you believe. No, it's not just about that. It's about more than that. Because after so much death and destruction, you would think that there would be a logical ceasefire. There would be a logical pause, because these people, so many people were displaced. Infrastructure is destroyed. I mean, you could take a look at this photo and you could just see that this place is in total disarray. And so, as I sit here and I'm reporting this situation to you, I've said it to you time and time again. The Israeli military, the Israeli government are using war tactics. These war tactics consist of things that are of the most diabolical nature. So they're not only raping, robbing, killing innocent civilians. They're not only doing that, they're bombing their infrastructure. They're bombing their homes, schools, churches, mosques. So it's like, not only do you not have a home to return to, but you don't have any you don't have anything to return to. I can only imagine that in the Gaza Strip, there's probably no electricity, because so much of the infrastructure has been destroyed. So the United the United States, they're very, 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 very slow to act on anything. And they only act when it's in their very best interest. And I told you guys at the start of this conflict that the United States was going to walk back their support for Israel. I told you guys this. And the reason why I told you guys this and the reason why I was saying it was because this is an election year. It's not because the United States doesn't fully support Israel. No, it's only because it's an election year. And the American people are always fully detached from the United States government. So it is an absolute lie when you see a politician, someone who works for the United States government, go on national television and say that the American people support whatever it is that they decide to do. It's an absolute lie because there's no vote about these things. There's no individual vote. No, we vote people in the office and we just hope and pray that they have our best interests at heart. But time and time again, they fail to do so. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Russia says U.S. missiles in Germany signal return of Cold War. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz welcomes the plan, says it is something of a deterrence and it's securing peace. The United States decision to station long range missiles in Germany could lead to a Cold War style direct confrontation, Russia has warned, as Chancellor Olaf Scholz hailed the move. The White House announced the decision on Wednesday during a NATO summit in Washington, arguing the stationing of long range weapons, including Tomahawk cruise missiles, in Europe acts as a deterrent. You guys know how I feel about this situation. I feel like the United States of America and its Western allies are fueling a situation that really it really shouldn't be happening right now. They're fueling um they're fueling a war that should not be happening. And the problem with the reason why they're doing it is because they're trying to weaken Russia as much as they possibly can. And so you'll have another country fight a proxy war for you so that you can weaken your enemy as much as you possibly can. Sadly, Ukraine is losing that proxy war, and they're losing that proxy war devastatingly. They're losing it dramatically. It's almost a no contest. And Russia is being they're showing tremendous restraint by not just ending it in an instant when they actually could. And we all know that they could. So the United States of America, rather than try to stop this problem from continuing to happen, rather than try to negotiate some type of terms between Russia and Ukraine, no, the United States will do what it's always done. The United States will add insult to injury and they will put weapons in Europe, long range ballistic missiles. So you're escalating the problem, you're not de escalating it. If you are so adamant that you are the the broker of peace around the world. It makes no sense that you would be so quick to move towards a conflict rather than to de-escalate the conflict. No, you will escalate the conflict by bringing weapons to the table. And so this conflict, I don't believe it will end. I believe that it will only escalate. I don't know that things will change if the presidency switches hands and, you know, Donald Trump is elected into office again. I don't know that the conflict or the conflicts, should I say, plural, around the world, I don't know that they will cease. It seems like they're accelerating before the election, almost like they're being forced to accelerate on purpose before the election, so that when the presidency does change hands, it will be total chaos for the new president. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Kenya's Ruto fires majority of cabinet amid simmering discontent. Kenyan President William Ruto fired the majority of his cabinet as the government struggles with discontent over a cost of living crisis and the country's debt. Now, this individual, in in my eyes, since I've been covering the continent of Africa, the Kenyan president is a crooked president. He is a president that is in the pockets of the West and its Western allies. So he has been imposing tremendous taxes upon the people, and the people have been uprising in Kenya. This is also the individual who was supposed to send military personnel to Haiti to combat um the what they call terrorist groups in Haiti, which aren't really terrorist groups, but yet and still, he was supposed to be the president to send military personnel to Haiti to combat the crisis that was going on in Haiti. So this individual is in the pocket of the United States of America and its Western allies. So this individual has no he has no concern for the people. Not only is the country in debt, but like I just said, he is imposing tremendous taxes upon the people. And what I find very interesting about a lot of these presidents and leaders and people that come from various different countries, especially the countries that are the most poverty stricken, it seems like they are very well off. You know, a lot of these people have brokered deals with the West and their allies, and it's all been through a corrupt nature, meaning that the individual or said individuals who's brokering these deals from these very, very poor countries. Now, when I say poor, I don't mean poor in mineral wealth. I mean poor in infrastructure, things being built. You understand? Because the leaders of your country are allowing other countries and other powers to come into your country and rob the country of its riches. And they're the only ones that are reaping the benefits. You see a lot of these individuals who are leaders in these other countries, they have homes and property and businesses in other countries. So the country that they're governing, some of them don't even really reside there. Some of them
have homes, and like I just said, and other properties in various different other countries, and they vacation and go to these places, and this is where they seek to have their pleasure and enjoyment at. It's not in the very own country that they're governing, because they're raping and robbing the people of their riches, their wealth, their land, their property. So this is what you have in the place of Kenya, and this president who is a corrupt president. If you haven't done so already, follow Street Icon on all social media platforms. That's at Street Icon 8080 on the YouTube platform, at Street Icon 8080 on the YouTube platform, at STREETICON1 on all other social media platforms. Drop a comment in the comment section and let me know how you feel about the stories that I brought to you guys today. Drop a comment in the comment section and let me know specifically and exactly how you feel. Always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace. There are reports China slams NATO's provocations, lies, smears over its Russia ties. NATO accuses China of playing a key role in Russia's war in Ukraine and expresses concern over its nuclear and space capabilities. China has warned NATO against provoking confrontation over its ties with Russia after the Western military alliance accused Beijing of being a decisive enabler of Moscow's war against Ukraine. The warning on Thursday came as NATO leaders meeting in Washington, D.C., promised to bolster Ukraine and Europe's defense against Russia and made it clear that China was also becoming a focus of the alliance. So, what does this all mean? Well, you know, people are joining up, people are coming together. And, the West and its allies have done it for so many decades. So many decades. So it is not surprising to see the adversary Peoples, it is July 11th, 2024, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Al Jazeera reports visualizing how Israel keeps stealing Palestinian land. Israel has illegally seized more land this year than over the past 20 years combined. So is it plausible that this military campaign inside of Gaza was really about occupying completely Palestinian land? In 2024, Israel illegally seized 2.7 square kilometers, well, kilometers, excuse me, 9.15 square miles of Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank amid its ongoing war on Gaza. That's more than the land it took over the past 20 years combined. So now, understand why that question is plausible. Was this really about taking land? Was this really about displacing these people, knowing very well that the rest of the world would not care, would not actually lift a finger to do anything? Because once again, all you have to do is get your news media outlets to propagate that these people are terrorists. And there you have it. There goes your blank check to do whatever it is that you feel you need to do as it relates to a military campaign. And that's the way it is with these Western powers and their allies. This is the continued action, ongoing action that they continuously commit around the world. So the question is, was this really about stealing Palestinians' land? Because what else could it be about? You're pushing the Palestinians further and further, almost as if you're trying to make them flee their land completely and go somewhere else. Just leave and go somewhere else. So that way the Israelis can occupy the whole Gaza Strip. That's ultimately what they probably want to do. They act as if this is not in their wishes, but their actions are directly in contradiction to what they're saying. So that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. On top of the fact that I very well feel like this is a ethnic cleansing. On top of that fact, you have the stealing of Palestinians' land. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports China slams NATO's provocations, lies, smears over its Russia ties. NATO accuses China of playing a key role in Russia's war in Ukraine and expresses concern over its nuclear and space capabilities. China has warned NATO against provoking confrontation over its ties with Russia after the Western military alliance accused Beijing of being a decisive enabler of Moscow's war against Ukraine. The warning on Thursday came as NATO leaders meeting in Washington, D.C. promised to bolster Ukraine and Europe's defense against Russia and made it clear that China was also becoming a focus of the alliance. So what does this all mean? Well, you know, people are joining up. People are coming together. And, the West and its allies have done it for so many decades. So many decades. So it is not surprising to see the adversaries of the West and its allies. It is not surprising to see their adversaries coming together. And so this is what leads me to believe that this conflict will reach heights that will bring us towards World War III. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there are so many players on this board as it relates to geopolitical events going on around the world. There's so many players on this board. And as I said to you seconds ago, there are alliances that are being made. So if this part of the world doesn't want to work with you, well, then you can find alliances in another part of the world. And these alliances may very well be or may very well have enemies. And so China, when I look at China, I think to myself that here's a country that has made itself an empire. And I mean, an empire beyond empires. And so the need for trade with China is essential for many countries. For so many countries, it's essential. And it's the same way with Russia. And so when you look at these conflicts, you look at the things that's being said, the United States of America is concerned about China's involvement because China is allies with Russia and Russia is at war with Ukraine. Well, it's the same way with Iran. You're concerned about Russia's relationship with Iran as well because they exchange military capabilities, they exchange information. And I don't believe that Russia would allow Iran to be destroyed either. So pay attention to these conflicts, pay attention to the things that's being said, pay attention to the players that's on the board, and pay attention to the actions that they make. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Sudanese refugees hiding in Ethiopian forests to escape bandits and militias. Sudanese refugees in Ethiopia asked to be evacuated from the country after facing repeated attacks from local militias. Thousands of Sudanese refugees are dwelling in the forest near Ethiopia's border with Sudan after surviving attacks by local militias on United Nations-run refugee camps. The refugees fled in May after gunmen and bandits repeatedly stormed the camps to steal supplies, rape women, kidnap people for ransom, and terrify civilians. Now, the question that I have, the part where it says United Nations run refugee camps. You see, I got a problem with that, as you should. How is it possible that a refugee camp that was set up by the United Nations can have bandits and militias overrunning these camps? I find it to be very careless and utter stupidity for you to try to convince us that there is no security at these places, knowing very well that the United Nations has a security force. So is it your assertion that you're not leaving any military personnel to oversee these camps, these refugee run camps? Are you not leaving any security in place so that these refugees are in a safe place and they remain in a safe place for as long as they need to be there? I mean, this is just common sense when you're dealing with the people who have just escaped such a tragedy or such a hardship, and they're being moved to a certain place, and you're supposed to be under a certain protection. In other geopolitical news, I'm on a YouTube platform, and many of you may have missed this story. This is Fox 5 New York. Daniel Hayden, suspect in Lower East Side crash that killed 3, charged with manslaughter. So this is something, an incident that happened on the 4th of July. Many people were out celebrating. Many people were out, enjoying fireworks festivities. Many people were having cookouts that day. Many people were just outside, just chilling with their family and friends, as they do every year and have been doing with their family and friends on this holiday. And so it's an annual thing. It's not far-fetched, or it's not, you know, surprising to see so many people outside on this very day. You can go through so many different communities, and as I've said, you can just smell the barbecue. You can see people gathering and getting ready for cookouts and different events. And so this is a very eventful day. So the video that I'm about to play for you is very disturbing. Once again, this is the Street Icon podcast. So it's imperative that I bring you guys, you know, the worst of the worst topics, the worst of the worst news, so that you guys can stay informed. Even though you might not appreciate or like what you see, as I don't, but you need to be informed and you need to stay informed.
Daniel Hayden is being charged with aggravated vehicular homicide and manslaughter and more. The 4th of July celebration in a split second turned into a horrific tragedy as the driver of a pickup truck crashes his truck into a...
So the driver of a pickup truck, he's driving in a pickup truck, and he crashes into people celebrating on the 4th of July. Now, what they're going to say is that this individual was intoxicated, and that even makes the situation that much more worse, to know that this individual was out driving on that day in such a reckless manner, and this is the result of what happened.
Crowd of people, killing 3 people there. Police say he was drunk at the time. Fox 5's Duarte Geraldino is live at the scene with the latest, including the suspect being officially charged today. Duarte.
The police say not only was Daniel Hyde drunk, they also point out this man was driving with a suspended license, and tonight he's being held without bail.
So now you're drunk and you're driving such a powerful vehicle, and you have a suspended license. You're not even supposed to be driving a vehicle. Bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. I'm pretty sure this individual is sitting in a cell right now, wherever he is, and you're sober now, and you realize, or maybe you have, or maybe you haven't come to grips with what you have done. Maybe you have seen it. Maybe somebody has informed you. Maybe, maybe your loved ones are informing you, but you have had to come to grips with what you have done at this point, at least in my mind, because you're not intoxicated anymore. apparently he seems to have suffered some injuries, but the injuries doesn't seem to have come from the accident itself. Apparently there was some form of street justice that was dished out on that day because this individual tried to flee the scene. So the injuries that this individual has sustained and the injuries that you will see appearing on this individual, no, they didn't come from the car crash. They came from the street justice that was dished out because he tried to flee.
Daniel Christopher Hyde barely lifted his head during his arraignment. He faces 25 years in prison. Investigators say he tried to evade sobriety tests after the crash by closing his eyes. I got angry. He refused.
So not only did you try to flee the scene, and people basically had to force you to stay. They had to keep you there. But even when the authorities arrived, you even tried to uh, negate the authorities' investigation by not cooperating. By not cooperating, and you can look and see the carnage. You can look and see what you have done. I am appalled that you were not willing to cooperate. How can you not be willing to cooperate when you see very well the destruction, the death that you have just caused in an instant? How could you be unwilling to cooperate?
Is to lift his head up. Be a man about it. Lift your head up. Whether there's evidence against you, lift your head up and be a man about it. Obviously, you're not a man because you can't face the music.
You know, I agree and I disagree with that statement right there. I don't believe that this man has anything to lift his head up or hold his head up high about. So I understand this man's disposition about, at least hold your head up and at least, face the music, so to say. But, in reality, there's nothing to hold your head up high about. And I believe that if he did such a thing, then he would be perceived as being arrogant. If he did act like he was holding his head up high and he was, going to remain strong in this situation and face the music, and if he did act that way, it might be perceived as insensitive. And so the man needs to be in complete and utter shame. He's holding his head down because this is a shameful act that he has just committed. There's nothing to hold his head up high about.
Thomas Gorto is a friend of the family, and he was in court Saturday morning.
Everyone's devastated. Who thinks on 4th of July you're pretty safe in that area? No one had they didn't have any clue this guy was going to come barreling down Water Jackson Street drunk like this.
I was accused of killing 59-year-old Lucille Pickney, her 38-year-old son Herman, and 43-year-old Anna Morale.
And that's just, the mother was killed with her son that day. That's very, very sad, for a mother to be killed with her son next to her child. That's a very, very sad thing. And this lady was also killed as well. And this all happened in an instant.
He's charged with multiple crimes, including vehicular homicide, manslaughter, and driving while intoxicated. According to court documents, when police arrived, Hayden was on the ground next to the truck driver's side door. Investigators say he was bloodied and wearing pants, but no shirt or shoes. And when he stood up, his balance was uneven. These court photos show his bruised face.
From the little street justice he got. He had a fat lip and a swollen eye. He was trying to get away.
Yeah, so, even this man admits that there was a little street justice that was given out because he tried to get away from the scene. And I'm pretty sure that he was very nervous and very scared. If he's intoxicated, then I can't imagine that he was fully aware of what he actually done. So, yeah, this is a tragic situation.
According to authorities, Hayden was also driving with a suspended license when he allegedly crashed into 11 people.
He has a son at home with no mother and no brother. He's home acting up without his mother, but he took 2 dozen family and what's his job?
Prosecutors brought up Hayden's professional history. He's a substance abuse counselor who wrote a book called The Sober Addict, an irony that further enrages victims' families.
We are gonna miss her so much.
So this individual is a substance abuse counselor, or was a substance abuse counselor. Also wrote a book about substance abuse. Only to be arrested for substance abuse and the killing of various different individuals on the 4th of July. Tragic story. In other geopolitical news, right now I'm on the YouTube platform. This is a previous post that I made. This is about Emergency Rule 213. And so if many of you haven't become privy to this or don't know about this, I'm going to play a little bit of this video that I previously recorded just to get you guys caught up to speed. I'm going to read a little bit, then I'm going to go to something else so it gives some clarity on what I'm speaking about. Many of you are probably unprivy to this rule that was just passed. Well, just revised and passed, basically. So I'm going to read a little bit. The New York State Supreme Appellate Division issued a ruling last week that effectively paves the way for quarantine camps in the future, the Brownstone Institute reported. The court's November 17th decision reversed the lower court's ruling that determined the March 2020 Emergency Rule 213 establishing isolation and quarantine procedures was unconstitutional. The lower court ruling stemmed from a lawsuit filed in April 2022 by 3 New York State lawmakers and the citizens group Uniting NYS, who sued Governor Kathleen Hochul and the New York State Department of Health over Rule 213. The DOH later sought to make the rule permanent by establishing procedures through which the state health officials could isolate or quarantine against their will people who had or were suspected of having a highly contagious communicable disease. The state Supreme Court Judge Ronald Plowitz on July 28, 2022, ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, striking down the law. But last week, the appellate court reversed that decision, ruling that the plaintiffs had no standing to sue because they had not suffered a direct and personal injury. In a statement, the plaintiffs said they were deeply disappointed in the ruling, which did not examine the central question at stake in the lawsuit. All right, guys, so as you can see, I switched my screen. I'm on a platform known as X, formerly known as Twitter. There's a guy on here named @Travis_N_Flint. This is where I got the story from, guys. So I'm just going to read what he wrote. Happening now, the New York Appellate Division has ruled in favor of Governor Kathleen Hochul in the landmark case for government outreach. Rule 213, isolation and quarantine procedures, give the state of New York the ability to come in your home and take you away to quarantine without any notice for any virus or infection they deem necessary. You won't have any option to fight it. No court date, nothing. The rule has no age limit and they can keep you as long as they'd like. The rule also allows them to treat you as they see fit, including using methods that are still in testing. This is one of the biggest abuses of power this country has ever seen. This is only the beginning. How long till this is nationwide or even global? right, so this is the part of the show where I just get my raw opinion. I'm angry. So that was something that I brought to you guys previously. So I like to keep you guys up to speed, and I like to refresh your memory about certain things if you haven't heard about it, if you didn't know about it, if you were unprivy to it. I like to bring it to your attention, and then you guys can do the research on your own and find out more in detail about said topic, said issue. If you haven't done so already, follow Street Icon on all social media platforms. That's at STREETICON1 on all social media platforms. At StreetIcon8080 on the YouTube platform. That's at StreetIcon8080 on the YouTube platform. Drop a comment in the comment section and let me know how you feel about the stories that I brought to you guys today. Did you know about them? How specifically did they make you feel? Any questions you have, drop a comment in the comment section, and always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace. Peoples, it is July 10th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Al Jazeera reports deadly Israeli strike on school turned shelter in southern Gaza. At least 30 Palestinians have been killed after Israel bombed a school housing displaced civilians in Khan Yunis. Once again, now this is at the same time that there's supposedly peace talks, there's supposedly a ceasefire talks in place, and this is all happening simultaneously. So the question that we all must ask ourselves, how much is Israel really concerned about peace? How much is Israel really concerned about the safety, the care, the security of the Israeli people? Because the military action and the military campaign that's being carried out in Gaza right now, I can almost assure you that it is ensuring the ultimate demise of the Israeli people. You know, I keep saying to you time and time again, I very well don't see how Israel set a course to destroy Hamas. You set a course to destroy Hamas because of the actions that were taken on October the 7th, 2023. And so this is the course that you've taken, but you see the problem with the course that you've taken is your tactics that you're using to complete the task that you say you're trying to complete, it is causing utter destruction, death, and mayhem inside of Palestine. So for you to inflict such pain, such hardship on a people, what is your expectation of the survivors of this group of people that you're inflicting this hardship upon? Do you not think or do you not fathom that the survivors themselves are potential Hamas recruits? Do you not see it? I've said on many different occasions, there are certain journalists, certain Al Jazeera journalists, certain members of the press whose, if not their entire family, it's almost close to their entire families being killed in this conflict. And these are individuals that are members of the free press. And so, you know, in covering these stories and these topics, I have conversations with my wife, and I ask my wife, I can't imagine what would happen or what I would become if you and my children cease to exist in some type of bombardment or some type of attack, totally wiped out in one instant. What would I become? What would I feel? These are questions that, like I said, these are questions that plague my mind. These are things that I think about. My heart goes out to these people because I wouldn't be connected to the human race if I didn't feel pain, if I didn't feel the suffering, if I didn't feel some attachment to these people, then I would go as far as to say that I am not a human being. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Russia blames war on NATO as it pounds Ukraine, demands territory for talks. Moscow tells the world it is open to talks if Kyiv cedes territories Russia has invaded as NATO summit kicks off in the US. So, as I've been saying from the beginning of this conflict, and there seems to be a little video right here. I don't know if I'm gonna play it for you guys, but as I've been saying from since the beginning of this conflict, Russia is totally destroying Ukraine. And the only way that Russia will stop doing what it's doing, its military campaign inside of Ukraine, is if the application to join NATO is completely off the table. You see, because there will be no peace talks, there will be no ceasefire, there will be no other resolution to this conflict if that is not off the table. Because Russia will not allow NATO to keep moving closer and closer to its borders. Now, I've been saying this since the beginning of the conflict, and I've also been saying that I believe that Russia has all right to feel the way that it feels. I believe that Russia has all right to have invaded Ukraine because of the tactical nature being engaged with the United States of America and other Western powers. They were being very tactical and strategic in trying to get Ukraine to become a part of NATO. They were being very calculated and strategic as it relates to NATO expanding. And these are promises that were already made and promises that were already broken. These are promises that were made to the Russian people. And these were promises that were broken by the West and its Western allies. So you can almost bet your bottom dollar that this conflict will not resolve itself unless the application for NATO to accept Ukraine is off the table. Right now, I'm on a YouTube platform. This is a CBS New York exclusive. The title reads, exclusive video allegedly shows man dragging woman's body in bag down NYC street. Now, the woman whose body was being dragged, her name is Yasmin Williams. She was a 31-year-old female who was found in, I believe, a sleeping bag or something of that nature, and next to trash, next to garbage. Now, I've been kind of viewing this story for a couple of days now, like kind of looking for details to come out or whatever may have you. I seen the video where, residents, loved ones of this female, they were basically waiting outside, I believe, where the police were bringing this individual out at, and there was a little disruption. The individual was said to be, or said to have been, wheelchair ridden. I really didn't understand the details of it. He was supposed to be in a wheelchair. I don't know if he uses a wheelchair. I don't know if he's bound to the wheelchair or if he just uses the wheelchair to get around and he's able to walk and he's able to be mobile. I don't know those details, but from from this video that I'm about to show you guys, it looks and it appears as if this individual is wheelchair bound, like he cannot be mobile or operate outside of the wheelchair. So in my mind, I couldn't conceive how this individual would be able or capable of committing such a crime until I seen this video that I'm about to show you guys. So I'm going to play the video and then I'm going to give a reaction to the video.
We begin with exclusive new video in the murder investigation of a woman found dead inside a trash bag in Kips Bay.
It comes as police have charged a man in connection with the killing. Right now, he has not been arrested for the murder, but for concealing a corpse. CBS 2's Lisa Rosner is live outside the police station in Kips Bay with that new surveillance video. Lisa.
Well, Christine and Dick, that video.
So he hasn't been arrested for the murder at this time, but he has been charged with concealing a corpse.
Adds to the pain of how casually Yasmin Williams' body was tossed to the curb. Police tell us that 55-year-old Chad Irish could be facing more charges tonight. Exclusive video shows a man in a motorized wheelchair casually dragging what appears to be the same trap.
Now, I'm going to stop it there because, as I said before, I was trying to fathom in my mind how this would even be possible. But now that I see this video footage, him in a wheelchair, what appears to be her body, and it's inside of a bag, sleeping bag, or some bag of some type of nature. And they said that he had her on a dolly. So it is clear to see how he would be able to do such a thing, because he's in a wheelchair, which is on wheels, and the dolly is on wheels. So now you see exclusive footage of him actually carrying out the transportation, the moving of her corpse.
Trash bag that 31-year-old Yasmin Williams' lifeless body was found inside of, wrapped in a sleeping bag. Friday, police responded to a call of a suspicious package on 27th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues. The medical examiner ruled it a homicide, saying Williams was shot in the head. The spot where she was discovered, now a growing memorial.
Yasmin was really a caring person. She was energetic. She knew people around the neighborhood, so she was very loving. So it's pretty sad.
Tuesday, members of the NYPD crime scene unit went to collect evidence from the apartment of 55-year-old Chad Irish, who now faces 1 count of concealment of a human corpse. Sources say the charge stems from him being seen on surveillance video dragging the body, and they are also trying to determine if the murder happened in his apartment. Police sources say Irish, who is on parole, is a prime suspect in the murder.
Now that video where they show him on the gurney being lifted into the ambulance, that's the video I seen where it seemed like people were so distressed, they were so emotional. They were really trying to attack him, and the police were protecting him. And they were doing a very good job, I might add, because I don't think that in some neighborhoods, if this individual in that same scenario would have happened, I don't believe that he would have made it out.
Definitely should deserve him to be in jail and locked up. Doesn't deserve to come home or none of that.
You feel like it was him?
For sure. Definitely.
How come?
He was always with her, so it definitely got to be him.
Do you know if they were dating or if she was living there or anything like that? Or?
Not necessarily, but I know he would bring her home. Like she would go to his house. Yeah, I just know he could be abusive though.
His outrage was shared Monday night. A crowd erupted, attacking Irish as police pulled him out of the building on a gurney and confiscated his dog and wheelchair. Police sources add that on Monday, before his arrest, he allegedly menaced a man with a gun during an argument. So he faces menacing and weapon possession charges in.
So before his arrest, this same individual was, I don't know if he was seen, but he was said to have brandished a firearm, pulled out a firearm on somebody, pulled out a gun and had it in their face, or I don't know what he was doing with it, trying to scare them or whatever the case may be. But the same individual, maybe the same firearm that killed this female. That's all speculation. That's allegedly. But this individual was brandishing a firearm shortly before he was arrested, days before he was arrested.
In that case, too.
I don't know if this is the actual killer, but how inhumane you're dragging down the block somebody's daughter. You know, he should be lucky that the police got him before that community.
And that is exactly my sentiments as well. The man needs to be very, very lucky that the police were able to retrieve him and get him out of that neighborhood before that community was able to get a hold of him. Because as I said, I can almost guarantee, because of the emotions and because of the hurt, the pain, I don't believe that this individual would have made it out of that community. This is a very sad story. As I said, her name is Yasmin Williams. She was a 31-year-old female who was killed, murdered, stuffed inside of a sleeping bag and then into a garbage bag and then dumped on the New York City sidewalk with trash like she was. Very sad and heartbreaking story. In other geopolitical news, staying on the YouTube platform, surveillance video shows shooting from inside Bronx McDonald's. Eyewitness News reports. So now I watched this video. It's a very disturbing video. Nonetheless, I'm going to show it to you guys, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts after we watch the video.
The video obtained exclusively tonight by Eyewitness News should outrage you. It shows two boys, just 12 and 13, having dinner at a McDonald's in the Bronx when a man in a mask walks up to them, pulls a gun, and opens fire. They fall to the floor as he runs away. Then, amazingly...
You know, as I watched this video multiple times. And, you know, I always remind you guys that not only am I a married man, but I'm also married with children. And so watching this video, 12 and 13-year-old boys sitting in McDonald's having a meal, to see what we're seeing, to see what we're witnessing, it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing, because as a parent, I think about my children and I think about the fact that they could be anywhere. They could very well have been these same boys inside this McDonald's. And like I said, watching these things, seeing these events happen, seeing these things take place, they disturb me, they shock me, but they also make me nervous. They make me nervous for my loved ones. Now, I can only imagine what the parents of these two boys, when they seen this video, let alone had to see them, visit them in a hospital or go pick them up and hear an account of what happened, but to actually see what happened and to know that they were that close to possible death. It's a very appalling thing. It's a very shocking thing.
They stand up and limp their way to safety. 3 days later, and with no one in custody, violence prevention groups gathered outside the McDonald's in the Allerton section, a neighborhood persistently ravaged by violent crimes.
It just pains me to have to stand here and talk about this again.
Bronx DA Darcel Clark joined the rally, all but begging the public for help in catching the shooter.
And this community is going to help us. I know it. I know it.
It happened Saturday night as the two middle schoolers were eating at a table. Cops say they'd earlier exchanged words with older girls who happened to have gang affiliations. One of those girls is believed to have called the shooter, who made a beeline for the McDonald's.
There's too many young people that think that the way to resolve issues is to pick up a gun.
And sadly, you know, with this woman, I believe her name is Darcel Clark. Sadly, what she is saying is absolutely the truth. This situation could have been dealt with. It could have been resolved in so many different ways. I mean, they're so young, so this situation could have been resolved in so many different ways. Gun violence is something that you would definitely not expect to be the end result of a situation that stemmed from a dispute. And like I said, I can't imagine what the dispute was about. I can't imagine that the dispute was of any severity because of the ages of the boys. And I don't know how old the females were that they are saying that there was an argument with or an exchange with. But is what I can say is that if no one was harmed in that instant, if no one was assaulted, if nothing happened in that instant and words were just exchanged, then it is just despicable. It is a despicable act for someone to then turn around and contact someone else to go do something so foul, so egregious. So my sentiments about this is just that it's an appalling situation. It should have never happened. And things like this should not be happening. It's going to take the strong adults in our society of humanity to actually come together. And when I say come together, I don't mean in things like this. You know, as supportive of, as I am, especially in situations like this, I support the community, I support the family who loved ones just suffered in this situation. But I also know that it's going to take more than just rallies after situations like this happen. It's going to take more than just rallies. It's going to take us being very mobile, us being very outside in these neighborhoods and these communities. It's going to take the adults to interject themselves into these situations. As fearful as you are, as nervous as you are, as scared as you are, it's going to take for you to relinquish yourself of those feelings for you to save our children. Another geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports, I'll never see him again. Attacks killing aid workers in Eastern DRC. Since the start of 2024, more than 170 security incidents have directly targeted humanitarian workers, the UN says. After sunset, horrifying images began making the rounds on social media, showing the wreckage of unknown vehicles and the bodies of two people who were lynched, their bloody faces making them difficult to identify. Now, what they're saying is that these individuals who carried this out are M23 rebels. And this is going on in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And so another tragic situation. This is happening in Africa. So there's so many different conflicts that are happening all around the world right now. And so when I'm reporting to you guys, I'm reporting geopolitical news and current events. And so it is important that I give you guys information from all around the world. And so this is yet another incident that's happening in the DRC. And there's been conflict going on here for many, many years. And it seems like things are only getting worse. I would say other geopolitical news, but staying on the same topic, Al Jazeera reports in connection with what I just read to you guys about what's going on in the DRC. Uganda backed M23 in DRC, Rwanda's de facto control on group, UN experts. The United Nations report says the Ugandan army supported the rebels while some 3,000 to 4,000 Rwandan soldiers fought alongside them in the eastern DRC. So it's clear to see that this very same group that just carried out the attack that it just carried out is a group that is being backed by another country inside of Africa. This group is being backed by Uganda. The soldiers know this group. And so this leads me to believe that these things are all happening in conjunction with each other, meaning that these things are being collaborated. These people are collaborating with each other, and they are, in effect, acting out whatever they deem or see fit to act out, whatever that may be. Another thing that I've been reporting about is not only the coup d'etats that have been happening or taking place inside of Africa, but also the removal of the colonialist regimes from Africa, especially in places like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. So if you pay attention to what's going on and you understand the nature of these conflicts, it's not just the fact that the people are suffering under these colonialist regimes. It is also the fact that the leaders, their very own leaders, who are supposedly their very own people, are corrupt, bought and paid for by the colonialist regimes. So a lot of these conflicts have everything to do with Africa trying to free itself from these colonialist regimes. Africa is trying to free itself, but also at the same time, inside of Africa, you have traders. You understand? You have people that are your own kind that will be against you, that will fight against you. And this is just the nature of humanity and civilization on planet Earth. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the Street Icon channel on YouTube. That's Street Icon 8080 at Street Icon 8080 on YouTube. STREETICON1 on all other social media platforms. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about the stories that you heard today. Any questions that you have, drop a comment in the comment section. And always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace. It is Friday, February 9th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. You know, today, this is going to be a reaction video of sorts. I'm on a YouTube platform on Tucker Carlson's channel. This is an exclusive. Tucker Carlson interviews Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. A lot of the Western media outlets did not want this interview to happen. So we're going to do a reaction video to this interview.
The following is an interview with the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, shot February 6, 2024 at about 7 p.m. in the building behind us, which is, of course, the Kremlin. The interview, as you will see if you watch it, is primarily about the war in progress, the war in Ukraine, how it started, what's happening, and most pressingly, how it might end. One note before you watch. At the beginning of the interview, we asked the most obvious question, which is, why did you do this? Did you feel a threat, an imminent physical threat? And that's your justification. And the answer we got shocked us. Putin went on for a very long time, probably half an hour, about the history of Russia going back to the 8th century. And honestly, we thought this was a filibustering technique. In fact,
Okay, so I've already previously watched this video. And so what he means by what he's saying is, this video is more than 2 hours long. And so as I began watching this video, President Vladimir Putin, he begins to tell Tucker Carlson the history of Russia, but not just Russia, the history of the whole region, you know, Russia, Ukraine, Germany included. And so it kind of becomes like, you know, I can only gather that when Tucker Carlson was interviewing him, it may have felt like a bunch of rhetoric in the beginning. But President Vladimir Putin was very strategic in this conversation. He was basically laying out the foundation and the grounds for how we came to the conclusion or to the point that we're at right now. And so it seems kind of long. It seems very boring because he's talking and speaking about the history. And so he's going back many years. And some of you may get lost in the commentary because, like I said, once again, he is explaining the history of his country, his nation, and that region. And in order for you to understand how we come to the point that we are in present day, you have to, you kind of have to absorb the history, because then and only then will you truly understand why we're here and why this conflict is ongoing.
found it annoying and interrupted him several times. He responded he was annoyed by the interruption. But we concluded in the end, for what it's worth, that it was not a filibustering technique. There was no time limit on the interview. We ended it after more than 2 hours. Instead, what you're about to see seemed to us sincere, whether you agree with it or not. Vladimir Putin believes that Russia has a historic claim to parts of Western Ukraine. So our opinion would be to view it in that light as a sincere expression of what he thinks. And with that, here it is. Mr. President, thank you. And you said that you were acting because you had come to the conclusion that the United States, through NATO, might initiate a, quote, surprise attack on our country. And to American ears, that sounds paranoid. Tell us why you believe the United States might break Russia out of the war. How did you conclude that?
It's not that America, the United States, was going to launch a surprise strike on Russia. I didn't say that. Are we having a talk show or a serious conversation?
Here's the quote. Thank you. It's a formidable, serious.
Because your basic education is in history, as far as I understand.
Yes.
Understand that President Vladimir Putin starts this conversation with a question. Are we having a talk show, or is this a serious conversation? And so are we gonna have a serious conversation so we can get to the root of this problem? Or are we gonna have a talk show where, you know, it's surface level conversation and we're not really speaking about anything of any substance? We're just going around the issues that truly are at hand. And so I find it very interesting that he starts the conversation this way.
So if you don't mind, I will take only 30 seconds or 1 minute to give you a short reference to history for giving you a little historical background.
Please.
Let's look where our relationship with Ukraine started from. Where did Ukraine come from? The Russian state started gathering itself as a centralized statehood.
So now he's already setting the premise. Where did the relationship with Ukraine start, with Russia and Ukraine? Where did Ukraine even come from? And the second part of that question is a very profound question, because that would speak to the non-existence of such a place at a previous time. So that would mean that this place did not exist. That would mean that this place was formed throughout time.
And it is considered to be the year of the establishment of the Russian state in 862. When the townspeople of Novgorod invited a Varangian prince, Rurik, from Scandinavia to reign. In 1862, Russia celebrated the 1000th anniversary of its statehood. And in Novgorod, there is a memorial dedicated to the 1000th anniversary of the country. In 882, Rurik's successor, Prince Oleg, who was actually playing the role of regent at Rurik's youngest son, because Rurik had died by that time, came to Kiev. He ousted two brothers who apparently had once been members of Rurik's squad. So Russia began to develop with two centers of power, Kiev and Novgorod. The next very significant date in the history of Russia was 988. This was the baptism of Russia, when Prince Vladimir, the great-grandson of Rurik, baptized Russia and adopted Orthodoxy, or Eastern Christianity. From this time, the centralized Russian state began to strengthen. Why? Because of the single territory, integrated economic ties, one and the same language, and, after the baptism of Russia, the same faith and rule of the prince. The centralized Russian state began to take shape. Back in the Middle Ages, Prince Yaroslav the Wise introduced the order of succession to a throne.
You know, if you could see Tucker Carlson is like, it seems like Tucker Carlson is like, bro, like, come on, bro. Like, what did you, like, he has an expression on his face like, you taking me So you in the beginning that you start and you said, let me take about 60 seconds, a minute, to give you a brief history, you know, of Russia. And it just seems like you turned it on and you won't stop. You understand? You just keep speaking about the history of the country of Russia. And so I just find it interesting the expression that's on Tucker Carlson's face.
But after he passed away, it became complicated for various reasons. If the throne was passed not directly from father to eldest son, but from the prince who had passed away to his brother, and to his sons in different lines. All this led to the fragmentation and the end of Rus as a single state. There was nothing special about it. The same was happening then in Europe. But the fragmented Russian state became an easy prey to the empire created earlier by Genghis Khan. His successors, namely Batu Khan, came to Rus, plundered and ruined nearly all the cities. The southern part, including Kiev, by the way, and some other cities, simply lost independence, while northern cities preserved some of their sovereignty. They had to pay tribute to the horde, but they managed to preserve some part of their sovereignty. And then a unified Russian state began to take shape with its center in Moscow. The southern part of Russian lands, including Kiev, began to gradually gravitate towards another magnet, the center that was emerging in Europe. This was the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. It was even called the Lithuanian Russian Duchy, because Russians were a significant part of this population. They spoke the old Russian language and were Orthodox. But then there was a unification, the union of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania and the Kingdom of Poland. A few years later, another union was signed, but this time already in the religious sphere. Some of the Orthodox priests became subordinate to the Pope. Thus, these lands became part of the Polish-Lithuanian state. During decades, the Poles were engaged in Polonization of this part of the population. They introduced their language there, tried to entrench the idea that this population was not exactly Russians, that because they lived on the fringe, they were Ukrainians. Originally, the word Ukrainian meant that the person was living on the outskirts of the state, along the fringes, or what.
And that's a weird part right there. So originally they were Russians, but then they were claimed as Ukrainians.
Was engaged in a border patrol service. It didn't mean any particular ethnic group. So the Poles were trying to, in every possible way, to colonize this part of the Russian lands and actually treated it rather harshly, not to say cruelly. All that led to the fact that this part of the Russian lands began to struggle for their rights. They wrote letters to Warsaw demanding that their rights be observed and people be commissioned here, including to Kiev.
I beg your pardon, can you tell us what period, I'm losing track of where in history we are? The Polish oppression, if you like.
It was in the 30s.
Yo, Tucker Carlson is like, I told you guys, this part of the interview, it seems to be long-winded. And so I can, like I said, I can only gather that Tucker Carlson came to interview Vladimir Putin about present day, about the conflict that's going on in Ukraine. And, sadly, President Vladimir Putin has no choice but to give him a history lesson because, like I said, that is essentially the only way that we can come to where we are at in present day. It's the only way that the average person, the average citizen around the world will begin to understand how conflicts unfold.
13th century. Now I will tell you what happened later and give the dates so that there is no confusion. And in 1654, even a bit earlier, the people who were in control of the authority over that part of the Russian lands addressed Warsaw, I repeat, demanding that they send them to rulers of Russian origin and Orthodox faith. When Warsaw did not answer them, and in fact rejected their demands, they turned to Moscow, so that Moscow took them away. So that you don't think that I'm inventing things, I'll give you these documents.
Well, it doesn't sound like you're inventing it. I'm not sure why it's relevant to what happened 2 years ago.
But still, these are documents from the archives, copies. Here are the letters from Bogdan Khmelnytsky, the man who then controlled the power in this part of the Russian.
So it's like Vladimir Putin is telling Tucker Carlson, I'm not just here to give an interview. I'm not just here to speak to you. I've actually brought proof of the things that I am speaking out of my mouth right now. The things that I'm saying to you, I'm not just professing these things happen. No, it's a part of their history. And so he's brought evidence to the interview, evidence that Tucker Carlson can examine, evidence that you can take with you and examine yourself. And so this interview is probably one of the most single important interviews, not just of this year, but probably of this decade. Because this is a rare insight into the mind of an individual who's been deemed by so many to be a dictator, to be a ruthless dictator, to be someone who is irate, problematic, on the brink of world destruction and self-destruction. There's so many things and so many phrases and so many words they use to describe this man. But our media outlets have never opened up a forum for this man for this man to speak, for this man to be spoken to, for this man to be questioned, for him to truly explain the essence of some of these situations. These are the things that have been hidden from us. And this is the reason why there's a war, there's a conflict underneath the physical conflict that's going on around the world. There's a media conflict, there's a media war. And so the powers that be that are controlling the major corporations that control most of the media that you and I consume, what I am doing right now is unprecedented. Because now the general population, now the average citizen is paying more attention to this independent news media platform more than it's paying attention to the major news media platforms. And there's a reason for that. Because I'm going to be totally transparent with you guys. I'm not going to not put news out because I feel that it's going to affect me in a negative way, or because I'm being persuaded by someone not to run a certain story or not to speak about something. This is not the platform for that.
Lands, that is now called Ukraine. He wrote to Warsaw demanding that their rights be upheld. And after being refused, he began to write letters to Moscow. away, assuming that the war with Poland would start. Nevertheless, in 1654, the pan-Russian assembly of top clergy and landowners, headed by the Tsar, which was the representative body of power of the old Russian state, decided to include a part of the old Russian lands into Moscow Kingdom. As expected, the war with Poland began. It lasted 13 years, and then in 1654, a truce was concluded. And 32 years later, I think, a peace treaty with Poland, which they called Eternal. And these lands, the whole left bank of Dnieper, including Kiev, Dnieper, remained in Poland. Under the rule of Catherine the Great, Russia reclaimed all of its historical land.
And so understand what Vladimir Putin is telling you. Russia went to war with Poland, and that war lasted for 13 years. By the end of that war, there was a peace treaty, and they split land. So understand where he's taking you at. There's a war between Russia and Poland that lasts for 13 years. And at the end of this war, this conflict, a peace treaty was signed and land was divided.
Including in the south and west. This all lasted until the revolution. Before World War their motive was obvious. Just before World War I, they wanted to weaken the potential enemy and secure themselves favorable conditions in the border area. So the idea started being propagated by the Austrian General Staff. As far back as the 19th century, theorists calling for Ukrainian independence appeared. All those, however, claimed that Ukraine should have a very good relationship with Russia. They insisted on that. After the 1917 revolution, the Bolsheviks sought to restore the statehood, and the civil war began, including the hostilities with Poland. In 1921, peace with Poland was proclaimed, and under that treaty, the right bank of Dnieper River once again was given back to Poland. In 1939, after Poland cooperated with Hitler, it did a lot.
When Poland cooperated with Hitler. Now, as I watched this program yesterday, and as I'm consuming it, this was a pivotal point right here. Because you and I, we've gone to school, we've learned history. Some of us consume more than others, so some of us know more than others. But this is an inflection point right here, because it brings about confusion. And I'll tell you why. You know, for Poland to cooperate with Hitler, right? And we all know that in the world wars, Russia fought against Nazi Germany. In my mind, I don't understand how history has become so reversed that now Russia is the country, or Russia is the place that is adversarial to the United States of America, when you were once allies. You were once allies fighting what you at that time would have considered pure evil. And so it's very confusing to see where we are today, to see that the United States most prominent, most um I'll just say their number one ally is Germany.
Hitler offered Poland peace and a treaty of friendship, an alliance demanding in return that Poland give back to Germany the so-called Danzig corridor, which connected the bulk of Germany with East Prussia and Königsberg. After World War I, this territory was transferred to Poland, and instead of Danzig, a city of Dansk emerged. Hitler asked them to give it amicably, but they refused. Of course, still they collaborated with Hitler and engaged together in the partitioning of Czechoslovakia.
But may I ask you, you're making the case that Ukraine, certainly parts of Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine, is in effect Russia has been for hundreds of years. Why wouldn't you just take it when you became president 24 years ago? You have nuclear weapons, they don't. It's actually your land. Why did you wait so long?
Sure. I'll tell you. I'm coming to that. This briefing is coming to an end. It might be boring, but it explains many things.
You just don't know how it's relevant.
Good. Good. I'm so gratified that you appreciate it.
So, is it boring? Is it really boring because I am giving you the history? And Tucker Carlson says, I just don't know how it's relevant. But is it really boring because I'm giving you a history lesson of how we come to this inflection point, how we come to this pivotal point in history where we are at odds or we are in conflict with each other. And so I too, as I watched and consumed this content, felt similar ways to Tucker Carlson, but also my wanting to know the history, my wanting to understand how we came to this point. It overrides my my boredom. And so what started out as being boring ended up being very interesting.
Thank you. So, before World War II, Poland collaborated with Hitler, and although it did not yield to Hitler's demands, it still participated in the partitioning of Czechoslovakia together with Hitler, as the Poles had not given the Danzig corridor to Germany and went too far, pushing Hitler to start World War II.
So now they didn't yield to Hitler's demands, but they did cooperate. And so one can only imagine what that means. If I demanded you to do something and you don't adhere to the demands, well, your cooperation on other levels may, it